Two machine pistols launched in the same season at very different price points with very different features. So which one is right for you? On one hand, we've got the Venom Pro by Dart Zone, and in the other, we've got the Nightingale 2.0 by Worker. This one's available from my friend Luke at outofdarts.com. This one's available at virtually any Target. Let's zombie land load and fire them. And then we'll get into the talky bits. So right off the bat, $110, 50 bucks. $110, 50 bucks. Comes with a battery, doesn't come with a battery. Those are your supplemental add-ons. That's everything you need to know price-wise. This is about $105 plus, creature comforts, and then you're gonna have to buy a battery, which is gonna set you back about 15 bucks. This one's 50 flat, but you're gonna have to pay taxes because you're buying it from a retail location in North America. Which one's better? We'll get into that, but ultimately it is important to note you can have two of these for the same price as one of these. So this has to be twice as good conceptually. That's not really how economies of scale works, and products with luxury add-ons such as rubberized grips and metal parts and includes, they have additive value that perhaps is worth it for you, and maybe you are not a cost-sensitive foam flinger and you just want the best thing, period, and if you wanted to, you'd buy two of the best thing. I'm completely willing to acknowledge all of that, but for the average consumer, two of these. Just keep that in mind throughout the video. As far as FPS goes, we've done full reviews on both of these blasters, and they're pretty similar. This one's running on a 3S right now, and it's getting similar performance to this one running on its default 2S. If you put this one on a 2S, it's negligible. This one comes in at about 125 FPS, this one comes in at about 135 FPS. On 2S, this one drops down to about 115, 117. Very similar ballparks. If you didn't have a chronograph in front of you, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Rate of fire is slightly spicier on the Worker. It's a little slower on this one that actually is either a pro or a con. If you know yourself and you just want to off your magazine as quickly as possible, I think the Nightingale is for you. If you're more into controllable burst fire with the ability to then I think the Venom Pro is far easier to stagger shots on. So far we've said a lot of nice things about the Venom Pro. I think that there are two things worth mentioning in regards to perhaps its detriments. The first is just overall build quality. This is a less symmetrical, less trim package. It does not have the metal. It does have a full tack rail up top, as does the Nightingale, but it doesn't come with the side rails by default. And then more to the point, it's made of kind of a lightweight, standard toy industry grade ABS plastic. This is a much thicker shell. The injection molding feels really good. The mold release is clean. It's a super slim profile. It's pretty flush against tactical gear and what have you, whereas this guy has active cooling on both sides and then the proverbial motor bump to fit its motor well in. This has done a much better job of balancing it, and I want to say that the reasoning behind that is that this is using micro wheels that are set up like this, so the motors drop down, hence the bulge being even, and this is not doing that. This has two motors here powering flywheels that are a standard vertical orientation. So vertical, horizontal. As far as accuracy goes in that regard, I don't see a huge difference. I think that the spread on both is equally tight. Putting them downrange at targets that are 35 and 100 feet away, I'm getting pretty similar blast radius. The overall accuracy of them is not in contest. I mean, they're both using, relatively high crush, concave into a barrel guide flywheel setups, which, 5 years ago would have been groundbreaking, but nowadays it's just kind of the par for the course, especially in compact setups like this. The number two thing that I think would lead to you choosing the Nightingale out of sheer principle is this is a dual stage trigger, little pull. Little pull makes a lot of loud, a lot of pull makes brrr happen. This is not a dual stage trigger. This trigger only actuates the firing mechanism. The rev is in this beaver grip. You click in there, so the harder you squeeze, the sooner it revs. And then when you pull the trigger, you get click, 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 click. Overall, this one's got a high bore, I guess. The darts come out of the top, so if that's something that you're used to, that's of note. This one's got a low bore, so your optics are about an inch higher than your darts. Most of the time, the accuracy of foam projectiles, that doesn't make a huge difference, but if you're a smooth operator, then perhaps it makes a difference to you, and it's worth noting. It's one of the very few differences in the products from a functionality perspective. And again, that's the kind of thing that you can super duper get away with when you orient your motors differently. Safety switch on this one is right-hand operable only. Nobody that I know is using their safety switch on their sidearm like this. The safety switch on the Nightingale is ambi. Goes into the back, clicks up and down. Both have relatively comparable iron sights. This one comes with some accessories in that regard, but it's nothing to write home about, certainly. I do want to point out that, again, in addition to getting half the price on the Venom, you get twice the magazine. Now, the magazines are nowhere near as good, but they're cross-compatible. And that means that you don't have to care about them quite as much. This comes with one magazine. It's got an over-molded, rubberized injection mold part, which is super cool. It lets you extend your grip through the rubber grip here, which is a creature comfort not present on the Venom Pro. This has a knurling in its mold release, but nothing to write home about, not like the rubberized overmold. Now, it does mean that you never have to worry about it like flapping around and getting detached, or getting gunk underneath it, or catching it and ripping it off. I mean, this is a premium feature, but without glue or a tab to hold it in, after a couple of months of play, mine is already starting to peel. So that's either a pro or a con, depending on how you run your gear and how much effort you want to put into keeping it nice. However, the magazine is much nicer. It also bounces, which I think is kind of fun. Just a little neat feature, but you know what's better than a magazine that you don't have to worry about breaking? A magazine that you don't have to worry about breaking, because you got twice as many of them. So with these, I just flip them out like that, pretend I'm John Wick, and keep going. I think that that's pretty cool. And it's not to say that they break easily. That one just fell on the carpet, and I'm not even remotely concerned about them. Maybe on pavement or asphalt, they're pretty standard Dart Zone build quality, which is not to say that they're bad. I mean, Dart Zone has been making some of the best magazines in town recently, but they're 12 rounders instead of 15 rounders. That's a slightly lower capacity. You don't notice it because the rate of fire is so much slower. However, it is noteworthy that you get 2 magazines. So for those doing the math at home, for the same price as one of these, you could get 2 of these, which means you'd have 4 magazines. As far as I'm concerned, that would get you through a lot of the standard 315 game types that we play in our hobby. Reload kits are available for both of them, and the magazines are cross-compatible, which is a really nice choice on the part of Dart Zone, given that they're the entrant into the category as opposed to Worker, which made the Nightingale 1.0 establishing this magwell geometry. You know, it's nice that they can share that feature so that if you already have a lot of magazines for one, or if you buy a lot of magazines for the Venom, then you'll be able to use them in your Nightingale as well. Overall, I'm just a huge fan of the machine pistol era. I mean, as a longtime fan of the Underworld franchise, yes, I know the Underworld franchise isn't very good. I don't care what you think, internet. I really like watching vampires use machine pistols on werewolves, because it's awesome. It's nice that something that we used to tinker up and try and make out of larger sort of profiles is now readily available, whether you want to buy it at Target or you're willing to pick it up via e-commerce. I mean, I think that the overall profile of it is very cool. Obviously, you should be using these extremely responsibly during public play. Neon colors, in my opinion, are a must, and that's something that Dart Zone is doing by default, and Out of Darts has the exclusive on the orange coloration for the 2.0. I would not fool with this in any other color pattern. That's just my take on it. And I think that they're so eerily similar that somebody needed to make a video asking the question, which is, would you rather have 2 of these or 1 of these? And I know that for me, personally, the fact that this comes with the batteries, you'll have a battery for every blaster, it comes with twice the magazines and half the price. I am the first person to acknowledge that this is a premium product, and it is quite good. In my, competitive, professional nerfing era, I would rather have a Nightingale as my only option in my holster on my right hip. However, it's hard for me as a reviewer who knows my audience very well to recommend it over the Venom Pro. This is an amazing price point. The fact that it comes with a battery is wild, but it kind of has to come with a battery if you're going to sell it as an all-in-one product on the shelf at a place like Target. It's really that it's $50 that I think is incredibly compelling and makes it a really, really cool entrant into the category. It means that the same company that's been giving you $50 primary pump action springers in virtually every flavor you could imagine now has a default machine pistol to complement the loadout. If you've tuned into any of my live streams or my prep videos, it's not a secret that I think that your primary and your secondary should complement one another, not compete with one another. So if you're using using a high performance, high FPS, high precision Springer for your primary, I would like my secondary to be electric. And this Woogie Woogie's all right. So I think that the Venom is definitely the winner for like a channel recommendation. And I think that the percentage of my viewership that should be choosing the Nightingale 2.0 over the Venom have already done so. They've already bought one of these. They love it. They've tinkered with it. They might have even, changed the motors out on it or something to that effect. For the person watching this video being like, which machine pistol is better? Pick up a Venom Pro. And if you really like it, pick up a second Venom Pro and dual wield all over the place. I mean, I would love to have 2 Venom Pros in a laser tag arena, and if I could do that in 2012, I think that it's impossible to argue that it wouldn't be an unstoppable pseudo-primary combo. Thanks so much for watching. Again, like this one's highly discussion oriented. It's pretty subjective as well. I've presented a lot of facts, but my opinions are what we're talking about here at the end. I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below. I'll be responding to those all day. Let me know which one you would choose. Let me know why. Which thing you think is more exciting. I kind of want to know what game type you play to go along with that opinion, like what your end use is for the product. If it's just dorm room plinking, I think that that's cool too. But let me know down there. And while you're down in my comment section and reading my description box, you could also click the like button and the subscribe button and turn on the bell thing. And I think that when I say those words in that orientation, they may be even lit up because we live in an AI hellscape. That's, I think, how YouTube works these days. They're constantly adding features that we don't ask for and removing the ones that we really like. But whatever sells more bottles of Prime, right, gamer lads? I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know which of the pistols you think is better. Much love. Blast on. Drac out.